Happy Homebrew Wednesday, everybody. S.J. Poor here from Little Face Brewing. Got a little bit of an update for you. We were down this past Saturday. MM and I went down to Pat's Fans to do a beer tasting. What we did was we had a tasting of the winter warmers that we brewed together back in November of 2013. He came up and I gave him a recipe of a winter warmer that I made back quite a few years ago. I happened to have one of those winter warmers when we were brewing it, and so I gave him the recipe. He kind of stayed with it for the most part, and then when he took it home, he brewed up, or he did some extra things to it in the secondary. So anyways, I took my beers down. I took Kimbo Cracker's beer down. And we had a tasting. So here's some footage from that. Psych! Yeah, no, kind of true to form as we did up here. You know, he came up here and we brewed all day long. And we got the whole way to chilling. I mean, I think we started chilling. And that's when we realized that we had nobody turned the camera on at all. So we got like zero footage of our brew day. And like I said, it was true to form down there. We had zero footage of the tasting while we were down there. I brought my cameras along. It's just, they're such nice people. Wonderful family, wonderful people, very gracious. We sat there and we talked and we played with the kids, and we just really enjoyed the day. So you're going to have to take my word for it when I tell you, they're damn good beers. We had the tasting. So, with that said, he did give me a little gift to bring along up. And I actually forget what he said about this one, but I believe this is an old one. It's been around. So it was cellaring. So it's a Grolsch cap. So I figure we're going to give her a shot here. See what happens. There we go. Nice carbonation. I rinsed my glass out because I actually did have some of his. He poured a growler of his winter warmer, and I brought that along home. And Mary and I actually just finished that up with supper. Let me put the lid back on this rascal. These are neat little Grolsch bottles. I really enjoy them. So, let's take a look at this, huh? Very sweet and malty. Still got a good bit left, and there's a decent yeast cake in the bottom of this. Let's give her a go. Oh, that's nice. Oh, yeah. It's kind of like an IPA, pale ale. You're going to have to leave me comments below, Pat's fan, on what this was again. This is very nice. It's got a real nice malty backbone to it. There's a nice hop presence. I'd have to say it's an IPA. I mean, that's what I'm getting off of it, with some age to it. So some of the hops have kind of dropped down a little bit, but it's nice. I personally like IPAs aged. I like when the hops blend in with the malts, and it becomes kind of one flavor. I really enjoy that. This is super. This is nice. This is nice. I also want to comment on a beer he had on tap down there that I want to get the recipe. I need to brew it. He had a pale ale on tap that was 2.9%. And that was the fullest bodied, hoppy beer at that low of an ABV that I've ever had. It was fantastic. I thoroughly enjoyed that beer. I keep telling the wife, I'm like, I got to brew that because I always want to brew something, that's a little bit more, one that you could sit down and drink and pound and not get completely sloppy off of. We homebrewers, we get into our beers and we brew big beers. They typically always end up to be big. Well, that's all well and good, but even for us guys that's got a little bit of time under our belt, you get a bunch of homebrews up in us and we're pretty much done. People that come over and visit, you give them 2 or 3 homebrews, they are done. So it'd be nice to have a homebrew on tap that is a true session beer. And Pats fan, you hit that beer. That was dead on. You hit that beer. That was beautiful. Update on beers that I have here. I brewed an Irish Red this weekend, so that's in primary. We transferred MM's Belgium over to a tertiary to clean up a little bit. We'll be kegging that probably over the weekend or something. That beer is phenomenal. Okay, so I am back from technical difficulties, better known as the battery died on the camera. So without further ado, that gave me some time because I don't have a spare battery. Got to fix that problem. To ask Pat's fan himself about this wonderful beer I'm enjoying. This is actually his double IPA. It's a year old and has close to 14 ounces of hops, with most of them being Falconer Flight, which explains why I like it so much, because I absolutely love Falconer Flight hops. They are yummy. He says he thinks it's close to Dogfish 120, and you know what? He's actually not. At first I was getting ready to say, well, I don't know about that. But actually now that you look at it, the color is dead on to a Dogfish Head 120. And it is not that far off. What I will say about this, with the 120, you not only got the hops, but you've got the alcohol as well. That is prominent. And this has the flavor profiles to 120, but it doesn't have the alcohol profile, which is good. This is good. This is nice beer. Thank you, kind sir, and I am enjoying it. So now we move on to this year's 2014 S.J. Pour Worldwide Homebrew Challenge. It's time. It is time. It is time to get your stuff together and brew. There will be another update video coming out very shortly. We are this close to having all of our ducks in a row. This year there will be a website. There's going to be terms and condition page. There's going to be a registration form for people to fill out. We're also going to have a media package that those can send off, that are in it, can send it off to people around them, businesses and whatever around, to try and muster up some money to help us with shipping. But we're still going to rely on us, ourselves, for a good portion of it, because we're just running out of time. Kevin had a good video a week ago where he gave a timeline, and I believe we're shooting for end of May, beginning of June for shipping in the U.S. And then the other countries will follow through. So I don't want to get on too much about it, but I do want to make sure I mention it today so that you guys stay tuned. As soon as the website is up and running, we'll get that out to you guys, and you can start to register. We thought this was the best way to go because the interest has been almost overwhelming. since I put the video out last week, 2 weeks ago, I think it was, you know, people are shooting me messages and everything over and over and over about, you know, the challenge they want in, you know, and all that jazz. I think the best way to go then is to go ahead and we'll have the registration out there. Everybody that contacted me or any of the other, you know, hubs that'll be part of this can go right into the registration, fill it out, and we're going to know exactly where you're at. So that'll help us point you in the right direction. So let's go over, you know, keep sending messages out, you know, just so that we have an idea of where we're at. You want to, if you're down in Australia, you want to hit up Tiny. He's heading up Australia. You want to look up for Europe. You want to pick Tony Yates, Harry Brew 69 for the UK, Kevin Clements for the West Coast of the U.S., SJ here for the East Coast, and Paul Wicksteed for Time for Another One for New Zealand. We are still looking for somebody to take up the Canadian side of things. I'm not exactly sure how that would work, but if there's somebody on the Canadian side, send me a message, shoot me out a PM or something so that I know who you are, and we'll go from there. So, stay tuned, folks. Everything, we are this close to get this thing happening. But there ain't nothing stopping you from going out and getting your stuff and start to brew. You already know what you're brewing. Well, you might not know what you're brewing, but you know what the guidelines are for the brew. You don't have to wait for me to go any further. What you need to do now is go out and grab yourself some ingredients and brew beer. Brew wonderful beer. All right, I'm getting out of here. This is S.J. Poor from Little Face Brewing, enjoying a homebrew. Enjoy the fruits of your labor, folks. Brew beer. Brew wonderful beer. Cheers.